Hi, it's Harry from Monday Sportif with Toby from Monday Sportif for episode 6 of the Fantasy Update Show. We're getting to the business end of the season, and I don't know if I'll be able to say this any other time in the season, but Toby, I'm one more point than you. My name's one more point than you, and I'm literally one more point than you. I got 39 points, you got 38 points.
Oh, in this, you made me panic for a second. I thought you'd overtaken me, but you mean
no? I'm still well behind.
As we know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and I'm not going to win the marathon. You're not going to win the marathon, so yeah, we better leave it there.
I mean, we're not going to leave it there. We've got an episode to shoot, so we're going to carry on full steam ahead. You know, it's not beat around the bush. I had a certain player that you got rid of. I'm just checking. I'm sorry for glancing the way of the screen. I don't think you had a similar one. I mean, I had Cristiano Ronaldo, but we both had Mbappe. I know you want to get onto Ronaldo, but I want to say Mbappe not been one for the fantasy football this season. It's really, or this tournament, it's really been a bit frustrating because you just think you can't not have him in it because he's got the capability to score 3 in a game, and I've still got him in there. I've kept him in. If I look at my team, I'll get that up in a minute. But yeah, he's really been a frustrating one to watch. But Ronaldo.
Well, I was going to say something nice about Mbappe there first because.
What are you going to say about Mbappe? Yeah, good cop, bad cop. Go for it.
I mean, I've got nothing against Mbappe. Poor guy got his nose broken. He didn't deserve what he got in that game. He's had a terrible tournament because of it. Poor lad Mbappe. But at the same time, we expect better, don't we? I mean, he's let us all down. All those who've shown faith in Mbappe. I mean, he's not done the business. But anyway, Ronaldo. Oh, so I mean, I made the mistake of getting him in for 2 weeks. He did, in fact, get an assist when I had him in the team. But luckily, I got him well out of the team for the knockout stage. And he's just made me. I mean, what's the opposite of eating your words? He's vindicated everything I said about him pre-tournament. I said that Portugal's downfall was going to be because they were overly reliant on Ronaldo, because it's the Ronaldo show. They're a one-man team. I came up with every single cliche you can possibly think of, and I told you so. I told you so. All you Portuguese Ronaldo lovers, I told you so.
Great. That's definitely getting spliced up, as Alex would comment himself. On to the other players, the players that did well. I can't think of any other than maybe the French goalkeeper Magnon and Cancelo for my team. Everyone else was a failure. Everyone was abjectly poor. Your team, I think, is exactly the same. Is there any hope for us? I mean, what are we competing for? Pride? Is that what we want to do? Just compete to be part of it all? It's a bit disappointing, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping for some kind of meltdown from Joelinton's Samba boys. I mean, as per usual, I'm not going to do my team until the very last minute because that's what I do. But I am thinking I'm going to do something slightly crazy. I'm going to completely back the teams that I'm backing to get into the final, and that is France and England. Call me stupid. If it's a Spain-Netherlands final, I'm going to have air on my face. I'm going to back those two teams. I'm going to put as many players from those lineups as I possibly can. I might throw in 1 or 2 Spanish players just because I live here. But apart from that, I'm gonna back those 2 teams and hope for the best. Hope that I'm right.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you to a certain extent, despite the fact I'm seeing a lot of Spanish players on my side. I've got no Netherlands side players because fantasy football, I mean, there is a rationale to it. It does mean quite a lot, but at the same time, sometimes you've got to let emotions take over. And there is no way on earth I'm having a Netherlands player in my fantasy football team. I absolutely want to back the boys 100%. I've got Saka in there. Saka, after that World Cup and after that Euros, didn't go away, especially after the Euros in 2021. Saka is making a lot of people eat humble pie. I mean, a lot of people completely pilloried him. A lot of those reasons were motivated maliciously. There was a lot of racism. And he had the game of his life in an England shirt, that is. He scored the penalty and is a big part of why we're in that semi-final. So shouts up to Saka. Way back in the mix. Stones, Walker. I've got 3 English defenders and I've got Kane up top because you know what? There's only 2 games and I'm not picking a Netherlands life, even if I had a gun to my head.
Yeah, I just want to go back to Saka for a moment there. Charles has been giving it the Saka loving all week. I mean, it's letting a Scotsman get behind England because of his love for Arsenal. I'm loving it. And also seeing some of the things that the England players have said this week. I mean, Luke Shaw, I saw today, a Man United defender, direct rival of Saka. He's had to mark him a few times. And he was just saying the loveliest things about Saka, saying he's the most humble person he's ever come across. He's the most popular player in the dressing room. He's a lovely guy off the pitch, and he's one of the most talented players on it. The only thing I disagree with what you said is I don't think that was his best game in an England shirt. Saka has been England's most consistent player. I guess on the biggest stage, perhaps, but I mean, he's done it before. He's now entered the top 10 England knockout goal scorer, or maybe not knockout, sorry, England tournament goal scorers. He's in the top 10. I think he's sitting at number 8 or something. That was his 4th goal in an international tournament. He's not even a striker. And there's plenty of players that don't feature on that list that would consider themselves more prolific goal scorers than Bukayo Saka's ever going to be. So, yeah, what a player. I
mean, I take you using a chip this week. I mean, obviously, this is a Saka loving, and that's great, but we have got to go back to the fantasy business as well. Are you using a chip?
Yeah. I'm going to be wild carding. I think it would be better to wild card. And then I've got my free hit or whatever it's called for the finals. So, I mean, as I say, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to completely back 2 teams, basically, just in the hope that it'll go right. I might even do something crazy and go like 5 French defenders. I've seen other people do that in the last game week, and they were obviously rewarded for that with the French clean sheet. France are good at the back. I mean, again, I'm just going to say it. Saliba, what a player. He's been phenomenal at this Euros. For a while, I was saying him and Pepe would be my 2 at the back if I was to pick a team of the tournament. Now Pepe's out, I'm probably looking at somebody from Spain or potentially England. I mean, you could even argue John Stones has actually been good enough to get in there now that England have actually defended quite well in the knockout stages. But also Teo Hernandez hasn't let me down all tournament. Koundé took a fine penalty. He's looked strong. You called out Magnon in goal. The problem with France is that I just don't know which attacking players or even midfield players I can back in that team, because none of them look like they're going to get anywhere near the goal.
Yeah, I mean, what the French attacking players did you say? Sorry, just to check.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I agree. Mbappe's in there just on past glories in the World Cup, not the Euros. I'm looking at my team. You're making me second guess myself, but I think I'm going to stick with a bit of a hedge of a bet. Kante's probably good. I've only got. The thing is, I think it's really tricky because at the moment I do think you're really making me second guess myself on the show here, because I'm backing France to keep a clean sheet, but I'm also backing the Spanish attackers, which is something's got to give there. You can't. That's I'm seeing no more than 40 points here. Do you know what? I'm going to change my team on air, and I'm going to swap out put Simon in, take off Magnon. I know I'm butchering the pronunciations, and I'm going to do further changes later because it's not interesting for our viewers to see me change the team. Hernandez is going out. I'm going to back the Spanish team completely, and the only French players I have will be Mbappe and Kante. So you've won me over. You've won the argument, but will you win the tournament? I think you'll beat me, but I think I can catch up with Charles and Alex. What were you going to say, Toby?
Well, two things. First of all, in terms of the fantasy league, I don't think there's any chance of catching up with Joelinton's Samba Boys. He's 51 points ahead of me. It would take some kind of miracle, but you never know. I'm only 24 points behind second, so I'm not completely out of the run for a podium spot. The other thing I wanted to say quickly was a big negative shout out for me, the most disappointing player of the entire Euro so far. He shows so much promise whenever you watch him, and that is Ousmane Dembele on the wing for France. He really is something special because he can do everything and anything. And then when he gets anywhere near the goal or has to play the key pass or whatever, he just completely panics, doesn't he? He's like watching Iron Robin, but he's got like Almiron 2020-21 sort of mixed in there somewhere. It's like the Almiron that Jack Grealish was joking about back on that City title parade. He flatters to deceive. Is that
that's the word? Yeah, that's the way.
He really does. He offers so much and he gives so little.
Well, I think you're right in that regard. And I think the thing that I'd add to that is I don't know. I think I do blame the player, but I do blame the manager as well. I think Didier Deschamps has had a Southgate moment in the sense that I think he's reached the end of his reign. And the weird thing I was discussing the gym today, actually, I think one of Southgate or Deschamps could win the tournament. I think we both think they're going to go through to the final. But I think a lot of people would say the managers haven't had the best tournament and they haven't necessarily done enough to justify them staying on anyway. I think I'm a big fan of stability, but I think sometimes you run your course. But the weird thing with this tournament is they could run their course and still win it, which is remarkable. I think the managers that have actually outperformed the Koeman, I think he's done a good job. I know they've had a bit of a favourable run, but he's still sort of ground out that result against Turkey. And that all credit to them for that. And they obviously won in the round of 16 as well to get there. Spain, I think they look the best team on paper. But I don't think they'll win against France either. I think they might go out late on and it'll be a heartache, but they have been the best team to watch. So credit to their manager too, Fuentes. Anything final from you, Toby?
You butchered his name there at the end there. De La Fuente. De La Fuente. It's like of the fountain. It means, and they're certainly springing up some good performances in this tournament. And
on that bombshell, as they say in Top Gear, is there anything left for you to say, Toby, or can we end on that bombshell? The fountain of youth.
I've got plenty more I could say about Spain, but I think we'll leave it for today because I don't want to give Spain a love in only to see them going out to France, because I think that's what's going to happen tonight. Or a penalty shootout, I reckon it's going to go to tonight.
Well, the last thing I will say, I just want to end on the bombshell, but the other bombshell for people that have got this far is you've got more of us, because England and the French game wrap up after Wednesday evening, so we'll probably both be tired and you hungover after that game, hopefully, if things go away. So the next show will be between Thursday and the final. I don't know if a round of the third place playoff games count towards the Euros fantasy. I'd imagine they would do. I hope they don't, because no one really cares. But we'll see, and we'll get back to you on that.
I just raise a key issue there is no third and fourth place playoff for the European Championships. Harry Duff.
Yay! I hate those. They're rubbish. It's like, why do that to me with England lose? I don't want to watch us lose again, because we'll play randomly and it will just, it's like, why do you need the wooden spoon in tournament football? So that's a good news for everyone that has common sense. And thank you very much, Toby, as ever. We will be back very soon.